The first night shift is always the worst. That's what they told me during training, anyway. They meant the weird customers, the drunks stumbling in after last call, the occasional prankster trying to order a Whopper. They didn't mean what I found. They couldn't have. My name's Leo, and a few years back, I took a summer job at the local McDonald's. It was one of those older models, a brick building with the classic red and yellow accents, situated just off a quiet highway. Perfect for a college kid needing some cash. I mostly worked days, but to get more hours, I volunteered for the overnight shift. Just me, a senior crew member named Sarah, and the hum of the fryers from 10 p.m. to 6 a.m. My first night shift started normally. Sarah was a pro, effortlessly gliding through the closing procedures. We cleaned the grills, restocked the sauces, and mopped the floors until they gleamed under the fluorescent lights. By midnight, the front doors were locked, and we were only serving the drive-thru. The late-night rush was a trickle of cars, mostly truckers and insomniacs. Their orders simple and predictable. Around 2 a.m., the last car pulled away, and an eerie silence fell over the restaurant. Sarah yawned and said she was going to take her break in the back office. "Just keep an eye on the drive-thru camera, Leo. Yell if you need me." So there I was, alone in the front. The only sounds were the buzz of the soda machine and the quiet crackle of the drive-thru speaker. I leaned against the counter, scrolling on my phone. 10 minutes past 20. The silence started to feel heavy, like a blanket. Then, a flicker. I looked up at the row of monitors displaying the security camera feeds. The one for the place, which was in a separate, glass-walled section of the restaurant, had glitched for a second. It was probably nothing. Old wiring, but I kept my eyes on it. The place was always creepy at night. The giant, smiling Ronald McDonald bench, the twisting plastic tubes of the Climate, all looked sinister in the dim security lighting. Another flicker. Another flicker. This time, I was sure I saw something. A shadow darting behind the giant shoe car. My heart skipped a beat. Was someone in there? I squinted at the grainy, black and white image. Nothing. Just the empty, static playground. I told myself it was my mind playing tricks on me. The first night shift jitters. I tried to go back to my phone, but my eyes kept darting up to that monitor. Then, the drive-thru speaker crackled to life. A wave of relief washed over me. A customer. Something normal. "Welcome to McDonald's. What can I get for you?" I said, trying to keep my voice steady. Static. Then, a voice. It was small, like a child's. "Is the playground open?" I frowned. "I'm sorry. The lobby and the place are closed. We're drive-thru only right now." A pause. Then the same small voice, but it sounded distorted. Slower. "I want to play." I want to play. Slower. "I'm sorry. You can't. Can I get you any food?" The speaker went dead. I waited, expecting the car to pull around to the window, but nothing happened. I checked the camera for the drive-thru lane. It was empty. There was no car. There never had been. My hands started to shake. "Sarah," I called out, my voice weak. No answer. I forced myself to look back at the place monitor, and my blood ran cold. Standing in the middle of the play area, directly in front of the camera, was a figure. It was completely black, a silhouette against the dim light, except for two large, white eyes. It wasn't moving. It was just staring right at the camera, staring right at me. I couldn't breathe. I couldn't scream. My feet felt nailed to the floor. I was frozen, my eyes locked on the monitor, watching this. Ting. Then it moved. It tilted its head, a slow, jerky motion. A faint sound came through the security feed. Audio a sound like a child's giggle, but played backward. It was a horrible, gut-wrenching noise. I stumbled back, knocking over a stack of trays with a clatter. "Sarah!" I screamed, finally finding my voice. "Sarah, get out here!" The figure on the screen took a step forward, then another. It moved with a disjointed, twitching gait, like a broken marionette. It was heading for the door of the play place, the door that led into the main restaurant, the door that was just a few feet away from where I was standing. I heard footsteps pounding from the back, and Sarah burst into the kitchen. "Leo, what is it? What's wrong?" I couldn't speak. I just pointed, my finger trembling, at the monitor. Sarah followed my gaze. Her face went pale. "What? What is that?" The figure reached the glass door of the play place. It raised a long, spindly hand and pressed its palm against the glass. The camera feed fizzled with static, and the backward giggle echoed through the restaurant, louder this time, as if it were right behind us. "We have to get out of here," Sarah whispered, her voice tight with panic. She grabbed my arm and started pulling me toward the back exit. But as we turned, we saw it, not on the screen anymore. It was standing in the doorway between the dining area and the kitchen. The automatic light had switched on, casting it in a harsh, fluorescent, clary. It was taller than it looked on the camera, nearly 7 feet tall, its limbs bent at impossible angles. Its head was small and round, with those same two huge, white eyes that seemed to suck all the light out of the room. It didn't have a mouth, but the reversed giggling filled the air around us. We were trapped. The back door was on the other side of the kitchen, past it. The front doors were locked. It took a step into the kitchen. The sound it made wasn't a footstep. It was a wet, sticky, tearing sound, like Velcro being ripped apart slowly. With every step, it seemed to unfold, growing taller, its limbs stretching. Sarah shoved me behind her, the walk-in freezer. She yelled, "Go!" We scrambled backward, fumbling for the heavy handle of the freezer door. The thing was getting closer, its warped giggling becoming a high-pitched shriek. I yanked the door open, the frigid air blasting my face, and pushed Sarah inside. As I stumbled in after her, I slammed the heavy door shut, throwing the locking bolt just as a long, black finger scraped against the metal on the other side. We were plunged into darkness and cold. The only sound was our own ragged breathing and the low hum of the freezer fans. And then, the scratching started. A slow, deliberate scrape. Scrape against the outside of the door. The sound of a nail or a claw dragging across the stainless steel. The reversed giggle seeped through the thick door, muffled but still clear. It sounded like it was right outside, in Holding T's. "Tolling with us." We stayed in that freezer for what felt like an eternity. Hours. We huddled together for warmth, listening to the scratching and the horrible giggling. Sometimes it would stop, and we'd hold our breath, praying it was gone. But then it would start again, sometimes on the door, sometimes on the walls of the freezer itself, as if it were crawling all over it. Eventually, the sounds faded. A long period of silence followed. We were too terrified to move. We waited until we saw the first slivers of daylight creeping under the freezer door. When the manager, a man named Mr. Henderson, arrived at 6 a.m., he found the restaurant in disarray.